is going to be about the Snallygaster of Maryland and the Mongollon monster of Arizona. I hope you enjoy.
For centuries, a large winged beast known as the Snallygaster is said to have terrified the people of Frederick County, Maryland. The dragon-like beast is described as a half-reptile and half-bird living deep in South Mountain's caves. The mysterious creature is said to swoop silently down from the sky, stealing farm animals and children from the unsuspecting farm folk. Some say it's real. The area was settled by German immigrants beginning in the 1730s, who called the creature a Schnellergeist, meaning quick spirit in German. The earliest folklore mixes the half-bird features with the nightmarish features of demons and ghouls. Other descriptions describe the beast as a half-reptile, half-bird with a metallic-like beak lined with razor-sharp teeth. Sometimes it is described as having octopus-like tentacles. The earliest stories claim that this monster sucked the blood of its victims. The Snallygaster has one widely known enemy called Dwayyo. The Dwayyo is reported to be a mammalian biped with features similar to a wolf but the stance and stature of a human. The Dwayyo and the Snallygaster have reportedly had vicious encounters dating back to the early settlement of the Middletown Valley. For years, the Snallygaster lived only on the pages of folklore until 1909, when stories of the beast began to appear in newspapers. Encounters between local residents and the winged creature in February and March 1909 described it as having enormous wings, a long pointed bill, claws like steel hooks, and an eye in the center of its forehead. Further, it was said to make screeches, like a locomotive whistle. A February 1909 article claimed that a man had been seized by the winged creature, which proceeded to sink its teeth into his jugular and drain the body of blood before dropping it along a hillside. The story was carried prominently in Middletown, Maryland's Valley Register, and soon spread far and wide, so much so that the Smithsonian Institution offered a reward for the hide. U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt reportedly considered postponing an international trip to hunt the beast personally. In the early issues, the flying beast seemed to be everywhere at once. In New Jersey, it was reported that its footprints were first discovered in the snow. In West Virginia, it was said that the flying beast almost caught a woman near Scrabble, was found roosting in a farmer's barn, and laid an egg the size of a barrel near Sharpsburg. A man in Casstown, Ohio, wrote a letter to the Valley Register, telling of a strange creature that flew over his area, making terrible screeching noises. He described it as having two enormous wings, a large horny head, and a tail 20 feet long. Afterward, there were no more sightings of the mysterious creature for the next 23 years, at which time it once again appeared in Frederick County, Maryland. The first report said the bird was seen just below South Mountain in Washington County. It was surmised at the time that as the life expectancy of a Snallygaster was estimated at about 20 years, the new sightings were from the offspring of the 1909 creature. At this time, the Middletown Valley Register requested that local residents who spied the creature should provide as accurate and detailed a description as possible for scientific purposes. Two residents soon reported having seen it just east of Braddock Heights, flying about 25 feet overhead, confirming the descriptions published the previous week. The next thing heard of the Snallygaster is that it had died in Washington County when it was overcome by the fumes of a moonshine still and fell from the sky into the 2,500-gallon vat of alcohol. According to the story, revenue agents soon arrived and destroyed both the beast's vat and carcass. No appearances have been reported since. The Mogollon monster, also known as the Arizona Bigfoot, is purported to be an ape-like creature, similar to descriptions of Bigfoot, reported to dwell in central and eastern Arizona along the Mogollon Rim. The Mogollon monster is commonly described as a large bipedal creature, over 7 feet tall with large, red eyes. Its body is said to be covered with long black or reddish-brown hair, with the exclusion of the chest, face, hands and feet. Reports claim it has a strong and pungent odor described as that of dead fish, a skunk with bad body odor, decaying peat moss and the musk of a snapping turtle. Anecdotal reports indicate the creature is allegedly nocturnal, omnivorous, territorial and sometimes violent. It is generally reported to walk with wide, inhuman strides, leave behind footprints measuring 560 mm, 22 inches, mimic birds, coyotes and other wildlife, emit unusual whistle sounds, explore campsites after dark, build nests out of pine needles, twigs, and leaves, and hurl stones from locations that are hidden from view. The creature has also been said to decapitate deer and other wildlife prior to consumption. In numerous reports, the monster has been said to emit a blood-curdling scream, described as sounding like a woman in great distress. Accounts of the creature describe an eerie silence prior to the encounter, an appreciable stillness in the woods that commonly surrounds predatory animals. Reported sightings range along Arizona's Mogollon Rim, from Prescott north to Williams, southeast to Alpine, south to Clifton, and northwest back to Prescott. The oldest known reported sighting was in the 1903 edition of the Arizona Republican, in which I.W. Stevens described a creature seen near the Grand Canyon as having long white hair and matted beard that reached to his knees. It wore no clothing, and upon his talon-like fingers were claws at least 2 inches long. Upon further inspection he noted, a coat of gray hair nearly covered his body, with here and there a spot of dirty skin showing. He later stated that after he discovered the creature drinking the blood of 2 cougars, it threatened him with a club, and screamed the wildest, most unearthly screech. Cryptozoologist Don Davis reported that during the mid-1940s he was on a Boy Scout trip near Payson, Arizona, and gave the following account: the creature was huge. Its eyes were deep-set and hard to see, but they seemed expressionless. His face seemed pretty much devoid of hair, but there seemed to be hair along the sides of his face. His chest, shoulders, and arms were massive, especially the upper arms, easily upwards of 6 inches in diameter, perhaps much more. I could see he was pretty hairy, but didn't observe really how thick the body hair was. The face, head was very square. Square sides and squared-up chin, like a box. Marjorie Grimes, a White River, Arizona resident, claimed to have sighted the creature a number of times between 1982 and 2004. She described the creature as black, tall, and walking in big strides. A number of people on the Fort Apache Indian Reservation also claimed to have seen the creature. Professor Emeritus of Biology, Stan Lindstedt, of Northern Arizona University, dismisses the idea that a large humanoid creature would remain hidden in such a large area of the country. I put that in the category of mythology that can certainly make our culture interesting, but has nothing to do with science. Generally, the scientific community attributes creature sightings to either hoaxes or misidentification. As recently as the early 1930s, grizzly bears roamed the forests of Arizona. Other large mammals such as black bears, mountain lions and elk may also account for sightings. The Mogollon monster has become an object of Arizona folklore. One such story involves Arizona pioneer, Sam Spade, building a log cabin on land adjacent to what is now Camp Geronimo, only to be attacked by the creature. Later his son Bill Spade and his soon-to-be wife are killed by the creature on their wedding day. Other stories explain the origins of the Mogollon monster implicating a tormented Native American bent on revenge, or a chief transforming to scare away his former clan. Another story involves a pioneer who is attacked by Native Americans, escapes, but is cursed by the spirits and goes insane. Still another story describes the creature as the phantom of a white man who, as punishment for murdering a Native American woman, was hung from a tree by his hands, stretched to a height of 8 feet, then skinned alive and left to die. Damned by the spirits, his ghost continues to roam the woods as the tragically misnamed Skinwalker.